topic of this season is contingency versus trust. So who do you really think is in the right, Cecil or Mark? And even though you can make an argument for both sides because there's nuance to this conversation, I have to side with Mark. Having contingencies for threats is understandable, but Cecil is going about it in the worst way possible. It seems like Cecil is actively trying to piss Mark off by hiring human scum he has personal beef with, just to make an army of these reanimate that he knows Mark would have a problem with, and then goes to threaten him with them. Mark was the only one to stand up against Omni-Man, knowing damn sure he couldn't win. Then he's the only one who can ward off an invasion of these guys who are just like him. And you spent numerous resources making him just as strong, if not stronger. So why even take the chance to piss him off? Then Cecil had more options than this. They can literally enlist kaijus that can handle Viltrumites. Cecil claims to use bad guys for good, but overlooks the ones who just do this for the money. Doesn't even ask about battle beasts who would do it just for the fight. Or I don't know, maybe inquire about the alien that keeps showing up to fight Omni-Man and Mark every year. But nah, he want Darkwing. Make it make sense. Well, folks, it's about that time. We really have to sit back and think about how insane Invincible Season 3's finale really was. Now, this season has had a lot of mixed reviews, but I feel like everyone can agree that this episode was one of the best in the series. Not only was this animation top-notch phenomenal for this episode, but they absolutely killed it when it came down to making conquests and imposing threats, while delivering a new grounded moment where even a monster like him can even seem human. I feel like this incident is going to permanently change Oliver, because he remembers everything perfectly, so he's going to remember the exact feeling of this, everything Conquest is describing to him, and after everything he's seen, he's definitely going to be fundamentally changed after this. But then even in this finale, mistakes are still being made. Mark should have known damn well Cecil was not getting rid of that body. Then nobody's mentioning the fact that Robot really just changed his name to Rex at this man's funeral. That shit is weird. We're setting up for the second coming of the Sequid invasion, and we're getting some brand new shit with Damian Darkblood. This is not in the comics, and I'm absolutely hyped to see more of it. Then of course Conquest is coming back because Cecil's an idiot thinking that 400 tons is gonna stop this man. These guys literally throw asteroids back into space. I swear he's dumb. Well folks, it's about that time, and Powerplex is such an interesting character and makes up some of the most major themes of Invincible. We're looking at a man hell-bent on holding Invincible accountable for what happened with him and his father during their fight in Chicago, because he raises the question of why is Invincible allowed to roam around free when so many people died? But then we have to bring up the nuance to this conversation. They would never try Invincible, because Invincible, like he knows, is a victim. There's clear evidence of it and everyone would see it that way. But because he can't see the nuance of the situation, even though he has every reason to, he goes off the deep end. So now this goes from someone we're trying to humanize that we can all understand to a madman bent on revenge. Because within his quest for justice, he's a straight up hypocrite. Because he preaches accountability for super beings, but then does shit like this in the middle of busy traffic just to power up. And is an active danger to everyone around him, including his own family. This man is a walking contradiction and he can't see it. Because this isn't about justice at this point. This is about proving that he's right. Because Mark even empathized with him, but he has to be right, which means someone has to be wrong. Even if that means someone else has to pay the price. But folks, it's about that time. And I was hearing a lot of people talk about the last episode of Invincible felt like filler, but I need more of this. Like, the world of Invincible has a shit ton of interesting characters, and I definitely want to know more about them, because they raise the interesting questions that I need answers to, like how can this guy turn into a fictional dragon that can hurt Viltrumites? They be foreshadowing these crazy characters since season 1. Like, bro, that's the same dragon that Nolan was ignoring, and he left that shit up to Cecil. Shit, after what we just saw what this dragon is capable of, I think Nolan may have dodged a bullet. Shit, while we're at it, I wanted to see Titan actually clean up the city. Boy, he got the people rallied behind him like this. You telling me this ain't worth a storyline? We over here worrying about how Mark and Eve gonna make money and how they want to get their own place for privacy's sake so they can get it in properly. And I thought the elephant in the room is the fact that she has her own place already. But the real question is that why are they trying to work when she can literally turn anything into money and gold? Did she forget she could do this? Then while we're on the topic of Machine Head being one of the most dangerous bosses in Invincible, number one question on the board, how did he get Battle Beast on payroll? What was the hiring process for that? Space indeed? But folks, it's about that time, and ever since the Powerplex episode, the conversation of holding Mark accountable for what happened with Omni-Man keeps coming up. And there are some people who actually believe that Mark should actually be put on trial, and let me tell you, that shit is wild. They would never try him for this shit because of the number one reason on the board, and that's because he's a victim. Everyone actively sees him fighting against his father, and there's plenty of witness and video accounts to corroborate that. And at any point, Mark could have easily turned on the planet and joined his father, but chose not to. Then Cecil and the government know exactly what the situation is, so they would never let that trial happen for multiple reasons. For one, all it would do is just distress their greatest asset, protecting us from Viltrum, and they don't want that. Then Cecil knew from the jump that Omni-Man was a lying alien invader. Boy, what makes you think the GDA would even risk having that information get out in a trial? And the trial would go one of two ways. More than likely, they would find him innocent, or they would throw the case out, because why would they run the risk of their greatest asset crashing out because he was found guilty for protecting the planet? And look at who's calling for the trial, a mentally ill supervillain who would lie under oath because he works for the GDA and knows that he's innocent. They had to protect us from him. There is no case here. But folks, it's about that time, and I kind of find it weird that Invincible kind of discarded one one of its most interesting characters with Damien Darkblood. Darkblood is basically introduced as the demon detective that had everything figured out. Like, Darkblood is so dangerous, he can just show up to a place, see a crime scene, and have almost every bit of information he needs with just a glance. This is a guy who's so good at gathering information that everybody has to be out the room before he says anything. And he has to do this shit every time Darkblood shows up. And it's even more crazy that this man can just show up and disappear in anywhere he wants. From the information I gathered off of him, they said he has to be invited in places, but from the show, it don't seem like it. Most of the time, he would just show up, say his piece, and then he would just straight up be gone. The only way you would know he was there is if it was cold in the room. And if I'm remembering correctly, they also say in his info that he can't take physical damage, which kind of makes sense because of the fact that he knew exactly who Omni-Man was, but wasn't scared when he confronted him. Then was even willing to go as far as to threaten him. Being a demon, if he just died, he'd probably show up somewhere else. And I get why they had to banish him to make sure he didn't reveal the truth too soon, but I still feel like there's still room for a character like this who has a strong sense of justice, especially now, because he would have been found Angstrom Levy. Well, folks, it's about that time, and after this last episode of Invincible, they have let Rudy slide too many goddamn times. Boy, every part of this man's character actively makes me uncomfortable. Boy, ever since season 1, he has been telegraphing that he's on villain timing. Like, I get that this man was born hideously deformed, but it's not like he couldn't have gone to Cecil to see if they could get him a new body. But he would rather break out known genius level criminals to make him a new body made out of the DNA he stole. Then it gets even weirder because imagine making a cloned version of yourself out of someone else because the girl on your team who looks like a kid likes him. Then he did all this not even knowing if she liked him or not. What if she didn't get over the fact that you were working with criminals? Then Robot did all of this and they just let this shit go. Then how him and Monster Girl even have a relationship is insane. Their relationship literally starts with this man backdooring another man to get to her, while at the same time he's still talking through Robot like they're two different people. But then spoiler alert ahead, this funeral part was the last straw. How this man gonna go to another man's funeral then say, yeah, I'm taking his name now that he dead? To honor his memory, my ass. That shit is weird. But folks, it's about that time, and thinking about Green Ghost from Invincible just pisses me off. Imagine having one of the most busted abilities in the series, but it's either wasted or it's a massive struggle to use. Imagine my power is I can basically become intangible or make you intangible. But to use this power, I gotta eat a green stone every single day. Mind you, this green stone is this big, and you don't get multiple, it's the same green stone, which means when you get done using the power for the day, you have to throw up the stone every time. And sometimes they don't have time to wash it off before having to re-eat it to get back into action. Then this dirty butt stone is passed down, and it's been with at least 3 people. I should have known this was a freaky deek ass power when the super suit got you damn near butterball naked. Then if Green Ghost didn't hesitate or panic during that Omni-Man attack, this show would have been vastly different, because all it would have took was for her to touch any of them and got them out, and they would have exposed Omni-Man earlier on. That's why he had to end the cycle of that hero permanently. But tell me, y'all, would y'all eat this stone every day for that power? Well, folks, it's about that time. I got asked an interesting question today. Do I consider Mark a bad superhero? When it comes down to being a hero, no hero is perfect, but at the same time, when it comes down to Mark, he's far from being a great one. Because my metric of what a hero is supposed to be is someone who sees injustice and it burns them up inside. That individual could be the most hated person in the world, but still rise to action when people need help. These people still do what they need to do because they know exactly what their city needs. One of the main reasons I love anime heroes like All Might is because with him, you never ask the question of whether or not he should have killed that guy. Because taking out absolute evil wouldn't change All Might. All Might hits evil with the intent to end it forever, which is what a hero should do. Mark has had the lesson of the strong dictates morality beaten into him I don't know how many times. Mark is willing to stand up to injustice. But Cecil was right. Mark is childish, negligent, and immature, especially in this last episode. Hundreds of thousands of people are getting massacred by someone with his face. But he wants to whine and complain about what he should have done or what he could have done instead of actually doing something. If Mark was strong enough, he could dictate his own version of justice. But until then, he's not a good hero to me until he does what it takes to win. Well, folks, it's about that time, and the great Jacob wants to know, which alternate versions of Invincible can be redeemed? Boy, I don't believe any one of them can be redeemed. Just because these 2 versions of Mark had a human moment doesn't mean they deserve redemption. I'm not giving this bastard grace just because he had fond memories of being at home. Boy, this whole group is responsible for slaughtering hundreds of thousands of people in a time span of a few days. Bro's literal deal for doing all this death and destruction is to take someone else's mom to his dimension with him. And this bro over here drops, I miss William. And that's supposed to make me forget all the death and destruction? And these 2 sympathetics in the back were still creeping up when it was time to torture Angstrom. Like, these bastards came here with the express purpose of ruining someone else's life. All for the express purpose of ruining more people's lives just because they have the power to do so. And taking express joy and pleasure in ruining people's lives. For every evil Mark, this was just an exercise on how cruel they could be. Every evil variant comes out and expresses how much they enjoy doing bad shit. And the sympathetic ones are damn sure not exempt from any of this shit because they enjoy it just as much as everyone else. So yeah, all these bastards got the banishment they deserve. Well, folks, it's about that time, and Jungle Hero wants to know, who suffers more, Invincible or Spider-Man? For me, I'd say that's Invincible by a mile. Peter across the multiverse has definitely had moments of his life being rough. But it's not like it's all bad for Spidey. He's had plenty of moments of triumph too. But even at his lowest moments, Spider-Man has always found a way to bounce back the same way he always had. because sometimes having a rough day is just what comes with being Spider-Man. But Invincible's life has been nothing but scuffed since he put on the mask. In the first few months of Mark being a hero, he's been beaten within an inch of his life against almost everybody. His encounter with Battle Beast definitely left a lasting impression. Within that same year, he had to challenge his own father while watching him murk thousands. Some of that with his own body, mind you, and getting beaten across the globe by his own father. Had his family attacked by a psychopath, then having to find out that he's evil in most universes, just for him to believe that he beat this guy to death, just for him to come back. Then he brought some of the evil Marks with him so they could destroy a lot of places in the world so they could hate Mark. Then more Viltrumites are coming and he still ain't ready. And he learned real fast that he's really not ready for this invasion. Invincible had to murk somebody with nothing but his forehead, and it's been a year and some change. I definitely say it's him. Well, folks, it's about that time, and a lot of people had something to say about me saying Invincible suffers more than Spider-Man, but I'm standing on it. Now, we have a lot of love and history for Spider-Man, but the main factors of his suffering is him losing someone close to him, or him being broke because he sacrificed his happiness for someone else. One More Day storyline where he had to make a deal with Mephisto to give up his marriage to save Aunt May's life. Also, his child that never existed could never be born. This is not stopping him from getting remarried to her. A popular run right now is where he's happily married with kids. Yeah, in the main continuity, MJ being with Paul is scuffed, but he could legit just move on. Yeah, at one point he got his mind stolen by Otto Octavius. He came out of it a billionaire before ending up just broke again because he chose to. None of that shit compares to the trauma of your father using your own body to murk thousands, and have someone rerun that same trauma back on you again just because they felt like it. Spoiler alert ahead, but imagine giving somebody a chance and they end up wiping out millions and it's your fault for helping him. Basically, God gives you a second chance to redo your whole life and save millions, just for you to say no and lose 5 years of your life. It's Mark. But folks, it's about that time. You guys wanted more examples of how Mark's life could be worse than Spider-Man, so let's get into it. People love to bring up the fact that it's a canon event for most Spider-Men to lose someone close to them across the multiverse. And while this is sad, losing someone close to you eventually is just a part of life. That's just what it is. It's made dramatic in the sense of if you could stop this, would you? But imagine during the time you're trying to prove that you're not like your murderous world-conquering father. You find out almost every version of you across the multiverse is just like him, if not worse. Just for them to come to your world and slaughter millions as you see it firsthand. Boy, even in the future, in his own timeline, he's responsible for destroying it. And spoiler alert ahead, but Mark's first legitimate life he's taken was of an innocent man. Then while he was away at war, Eve was pregnant, then got rid of the baby. She kept it a secret from him, and then Mark blamed himself. Then another time while she was pregnant and he was forced to be away, she had enough and said she was breaking up with him and she never wanted to see him again. Right after that, he gets beaten, then assaulted. Mark had to watch himself eat himself, then try to eat him. Physical trauma damn sure goes hand in hand with mental trauma, and he has it in spades. Mark's existence means that either millions will be saved or dead. Well, folks, it's about that time. I got tagging this for today, and it says, who makes better super suits, Art or Edna Mode? Now, if we're talking about a functional, high-quality suit, look no further than Edna Mode. Bare minimum, her suits are lightweight, comfortable, and flexible, while also being able to withstand temperatures of over 1,000 degrees, while also being completely bulletproof. Edna also makes custom suits designed for people's specific powers, like a suit that can withstand enormous friction for a speedster, or a suit that can turn completely invisible along with the user, or a suit that can stretch indefinitely while also being indestructible. And then each suit has a homing device in it. What's most impressive is her work with Jack. Edna in one night made a super suit to make countermeasures to a child continuously developing superpowers. So no matter what superpower comes next, it can automatically handle the situation. Then not only adapt to the new power, but build a countermeasure for it, while also anticipating new powers. But if we're talking about fashion, I like Mr. Incredible's old suit better. While the red suit is fine, they look much better in different colors. You can't tell me when Art make a suit, that shit not iconic. Then he made it look even better. Immortal may be a bum, but you can't say his suit not clean. In my opinion, Edna cooks him in every category but fashion, but what do you guys think? But folks, it's about that time, and already we gotta revisit who makes the better super suits, Edna or Art from Invincible. Y'all and my homies are fighting me on this, and I still say it's Edna. Okay, let's look at this as a whole, because as far as we know, Art designs every superhero suit that we've seen in the show. And as we know, for the most part, Edna would also be designing everybody's super suits in her universe. As we know, both of them create features specifically designed to each superhero. But I said Edna was better at it because her suits are far more durable. People, bare minimum, the suits are bulletproof. Art's suits ain't even knife proof, and they ain't no special knife. Let's assume that Rex's suit is also made by Art. It's damn sure not bulletproof. Everyone's major argument is Omni-Man's suit, because of the fact that he can get hit by this laser, and his suit barely has damage. That just tells me the durability of the suits in this show are inconsistent, or Art is just biased to Nolan. Edna makes suits that are virtually indestructible. Boy, everything in creation has torn Invincible suits all to hell, and Invincible can't go through one fight with anybody without his goggles shattering in his eyes. Boy, his suit can be torn all to hell just by punching him a lot, and the Reanimen are weaker than him. So when she tells me her suits are indestructible, I believe her. This is the same woman who made an evolving suit for powers it's never seen in one night. As for the fashion comment, I'm just not a fan of minimalist design. There's nothing wrong with their suits. The Incredible suits look pretty good. For their time period, it definitely works. For me, superhero suits gotta make a statement. They gotta be big and bold. I like unique designs that say, I am here. But that's just personal preference, because a lot of people can like her more modern take on a retro design. Based off of what's demonstrated and explained, I definitely believe Edna has the better suits, but that's just me. I'm standing by it, but let me know what you guys think.